Hello, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to our podcasts. I know it has been long since we've done a podcast, but today we have an intriguing topic to delve into. And our topic today is kind of a question, and the question that we are going to try to answer today is why Mauricio Pochettino might find it challenging to succeed at Chelsea. Most fans think that the Pochettino project will just go kickstart and succeed automatically. But today I want to give you a reason why you may be wrong, and I don't want to ruin your hopes about the next Chelsea season, but I want to give you concrete reasons why you should hold your horses and wait to see what will happen. The former Spurs manager has taken charge at Stamford Bridge, and several factors could hinder his success. Let's explore them one by one. The first thing that I see Pochettino will face at Chelsea is the lack of Champions League football. I know a lot of people will argue that actually this is a blessing in disguise for Pochettino because of the game time he will receive. But I want to inform you that this might be a problem that Pochettino is actually facing now, even before taking charge at Chelsea. And this is the reason why. The absence of the Champions League football in the upcoming season could prove to be detrimental to Chelsea's ambition. Without the allure of Europe's elite competition, attracting top quality players to fill in crucial positions such as the striker role might be a struggle. Pochettino's side will need to address their goal-scoring woes from last season, and without a Champions League platform, it could be a difficult task. So, how is this going to affect Chelsea in the next season? Chelsea have already signed Jackson from Villarreal, but Jackson, according to me, is not yet ready to lead the Chelsea line. Unlike La Liga, the Premier League is quite physical and it's quite difficult. Last season, we saw Chelsea struggling to score goals by just scoring 38 goals, averaging a goal per game last season, the worst in Chelsea history. This can be attributed by a lack of a clinical finisher, and we saw last season Chelsea squandering most chances. Chelsea conceded the same number of goals as Liverpool, but Liverpool outscored Chelsea with close to over 30 goals last season that saw them finish 5th. Chelsea had planned to go for a top striker during this summer window. And one of the top strikers is Victor Osimhen from Napoli and maybe Harry Kane from Tottenham. But without the European elite competition on the table, most of these elite strikers might be reluctant to join Chelsea. And therefore, this might carry on the goal-scoring woes that Chelsea experienced last season. And this might become a problem for Pochettino next season when his team creates chance after chance but lack a clear goal threat. This might hinder them from winning games and affect their overall league position. Some of you might argue that the introduction of Christian Nkunku will bolster these stats, but Nkunku is a second striker, and again, from my analysis, I have not seen if Jackson is a good target man, and therefore Nkunku thrives with a target man. And if he plays without a target man, this might also hinder his output, and this might result in him being marked and therefore reduce his goaling tally. As you know, the Premier League is quite difficult to score goals. On the other hand, Jackson likes to run over the shoulder of the last defender, but most teams in the Premier League tend to sit deep while playing Chelsea, and therefore they will need a skillful attacker like maybe a Harry Kane to unlock these defenses. Now let's move on to the second reason why Pochettino might find a challenge at Chelsea. The second reason is the inexperienced team. Pochettino lies in the team's overall lack of experience. With an average age of 23.5 years, Chelsea's squad is relatively young and inexperienced, and only a handful of players have 3 or more seasons of Premier League experience. In critical moments during the season, where experience and composure are required, this could put Chelsea at a disadvantage, where experience and composure are required. This could put them in a situation whereby, compared to their opponents such as Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Arsenal, who have players who have high caps in the Premier League, might be able to create a form of experience and composure during difficult times. Chelsea might lack this because only a few number of players in the starting 11 are experienced, and these players include Raheem Sterling, Kepa, Reece James, we have Wesley Fofana, though he's been quite out injured, and Ben Chilwell. Majority of the starting 11 consists of players with limited Premier League experience. We know that Chelsea has a problem, especially during the Christmas period when games are coming in thick and fast. And this kind of situation is where you need the leaders, the experienced players who know when the team should sit back and not press quite intense high up the pitch, when to defend a lead, when to go to attack, when to be composed during persistent pressures. And this experience was generated by players such as Cesar Azpilicueta. Thiago Silva is aging and will be phased out of the starting 11. Players experienced like Jorginho and N'Golo Kante in midfield knew when to dictate the tempo of the game and when to sit back. But this is a kind of composure and attribute that can only be found by experienced players. This is something that Chelsea might be largely lacking next season, and we'll see how Pochettino will try to improve in this department, but this will pose a huge challenge to him. The third problem that Pochettino will face is a lack of strong spine of the team. The spine of the team consists of the goalkeeper, one dominant centre-back, a defensive midfielder, an attacking midfielder, a striker. Compared to their opponents, Chelsea have the weakest spine. Building a team with a strong spine is crucial for success. And unfortunately, Chelsea currently lack world-class players in key positions. The departure of influential figures such as N'Golo Kante, Cesar Azpilicueta, Jorginho, and the aging Thiago Silva has left a void in the spine of the team. This could potentially lead to tactical issues and lack of leadership on the pitch. A strong spine, for example, the one that we saw at Liverpool consisting of Alisson, Van Dijk, Jordan Henderson, Mohamed Salah, and Sadio Mane. This strong spine enabled the team to clearly play well with a clear system of play, and they are also leaders on the pitch, know when to control tempers when things get heated up, know when to keep the ball, know when to drop back and fall in deep blocks or mid blocks to defend a lead. And this is something that you can only get from experienced players. And again, as I said in my previous point, Chelsea will really struggle with the lack of experience in the team. Now, we move on to the fourth issue that Pochettino might face at Chelsea. The fourth issue that Pochettino might face at Chelsea is the lack of enough leaders. The absence of enough leaders within the squad is another concern. Key players such as Edouard Mendy, Thiago Silva, Cesar Azpilicueta, Jorginho, Kante, and Mount, together with Mateo Kovacic, were crucial leaders and figures in the Chelsea dressing room. Not being in the starting 11 might affect young players. This might affect the players' confidence and decision making under times of pressure. A team needs strong leaders to guide and inspire, and Chelsea must address this issue to create a cohesive, resilient unit. These strong figures in the dressing room are those who push the team to gain confidence when they are behind. They are the ones who motivate the players on the pitch. And this is something that you're not likely to get from young players, because young players have not been through tough moments in the top division football. Therefore, experienced players like you will see previously Jorginho encouraging his teammates, Cesar Azpilicueta being there with experience and being the captain, might give a sense of confidence to young players that everything is under control. But when you lack these players in the pitch, you leave players confused. And this is something that we saw with Arsenal at the end of the season last season. Arsenal bowed down to the pressure mounted on them by Manchester City and gave away the title. Why? Because the Arsenal starting 11 lacks experienced leaders. Now we move on to the fifth challenge that Mauricio Pochettino might face at Chelsea. The fifth challenge is the lack of enough depth in the squad. We know that Chelsea had a bloated squad during this season, and they worsened it in the January transfer window by adding additional players. But the process of trimming down the squad has left some areas of the pitch quite lacking major depth. And this depth is essential since it helps the team to overcome challenges such as injuries and fatigue. Depth in the squad is vital for long and demanding season, and unfortunately for Chelsea, these seem to lack sufficient depth in certain areas of the pitch. One such area is the defensive midfield double pivot. The potential signing of Moises Caicedo from Brighton would help, but again, could leave Chelsea vulnerable. The departure of midfield talents such as Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Conor Gallagher would further deplete their options in the middle of the pack. Caicedo is tasked to play alongside Enzo Fernandez in midfield, but this will be the starting pair in midfield since Mauricio Pochettino prefers a 4-2-3-1 kind of a formation. The question lies now is when either of the two double pivots gets injured, there is no Mateo Kovacic to step in and play and fill that role. There is no bigger presence or a more outstanding player to fill in that position. For example, at Manchester City, if Rodri could get injured, John Stones would drop in and play as the holding midfielder. But at Chelsea, this seems not to be the case. This might cause problems for Chelsea. The next and the sixth reason why Pochettino might find it difficult at Chelsea, and this is the general improvement of teams, especially mid-table teams at the Premier League. The Premier League is becoming increasingly competitive, with mid-table teams such as Newcastle, Brighton, and Aston Villa strengthening and making it challenging for the top sides to secure victories. These games against mid-table opponents, which Chelsea would typically aim to win comfortably, may now become more difficult due to the overall improvement of these teams. And we saw last season how Brighton did a double over Chelsea. Newcastle managed to beat Chelsea and come with a draw. A lot of teams around the mid-table areas in the Premier League have generally improved. Means it's not one of their main objectives next season is the continuous dominance by Manchester City in the Premier League. Manchester City's recent dominance in English football cannot be ignored. After winning the treble last season and making additions to their starting 11 by picking up one of Chelsea's key players, Mateo Kovacic, they will likely be determined to maintain a stronghold on the league title. Overcoming City dominance is not a small task for any manager, including Mauricio Pochettino. Manchester City has been one of the best teams in English football for the past 7 seasons, and destroying Manchester City or beating Manchester City to the title might be a full-blown huge task for Pochettino, and it's not something that Chelsea should be considering next season, and therefore Chelsea have already been written off of a title charge next season because of Manchester City's outstanding, dominant presence in the Premier League. The eighth reason that Chelsea might be Liverpool, who have undergone their woes last season and finished 5th, look like they will improve this season with the return of injuries of certain key players such as Virgil van Dijk, Luis Diaz, Diego Jota, and Klopp's sudden tactical shift by deploying Trent Alexander-Arnold as a midfielder. These are key in ensuring that Liverpool get back to their best, and this sees that Chelsea will get limited slots in the top 4 unless Pochettino's tactics are implemented quick and fast. Another thing is Manchester United. If Manchester United succeed in nailing down the signing of Onana, Mason Mount, and probably Harry Kane, and also their stellar season where they finished 3rd, Erik ten Hag's project at Manchester United could go quite well, and this might see Chelsea automatically get locked out of the top 4 race. And one last reason why Pochettino might struggle at Chelsea is the ever-increasing toxic Chelsea fanbase. The Chelsea fanbase has been brought by under the Roman era to always deserve to win now. The fanbase is quite impatient with managers who take time to generate results. We've seen in most areas where Pochettino has managed that his first season has not been remarkably well, and he is a manager who needs time to implement his philosophy. At Chelsea, being a former Spurs manager, he might find it difficult because a lot of Chelsea fans would want to see results in order to buy into his project. This might be quite challenging for Mauricio Pochettino, since the fan base might get toxic, especially after a disastrous season last season. And therefore, Pochettino has to win fast. Pochettino has to improve the squad fast. Pochettino has to identify his starting team fast. The onus is on Mauricio Pochettino to get his tactics well understood by the players. Another thing is that Pochettino requires time. He requires patience so that he can be able to succeed at Chelsea. And that is something that we are likely to wait and see if it will happen. This is our podcast today, and we have identified the challenges that Pochettino will face. If you've liked this video, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. You can also view various tactical setups on Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea in our timeline. If you've stayed with us till the end of the podcast, thanks for watching and have a great evening or great day. Thank you.